All right, so let's talk Friedrich Nietzsche. When you think of him, what's the first image that comes to mind? Probably the guy with the giant mustache holding a hammer, right? The ultimate destroyer of idols. And look, that's not wrong, but it's not even close to the whole story.
I mean, that image of him as this iconoclast, this dynamiter of foundations, it's incredibly powerful, and it's pretty much defined how we all see him.
But here's the twist. What if that hammer wasn't just for smashing things? What if it was actually a key? Because behind all that destruction, Nietzsche had this huge constructive project. He wanted to build a whole new way of looking at the world. So yeah, let's dive in.
So, where does he even start? Well, Nietzsche doesn't exactly ease into it. He just launches this series of provocations, basically taking aim at the very bedrock of Western thought.
Literally everything you and I take for granted, he puts it on trial. Our morality, ideas like compassion and altruism, our entire history of philosophy, even the very words we use to think. Concepts like truth or who I am. Nothing is safe.
And a huge target for him is this thing called metaphysics. Sounds complicated, but the core idea, which goes way back to Plato, is that our world, this world right here, is just a shabby, fleeting copy of some true, perfect, eternal world somewhere else. Nietzsche absolutely hated this. He thought it taught us to devalue the only life we actually have, all for a made-up paradise.
Okay, so if our values don't come from God or some perfect other world, then where the heck do they come from? And this is where Nietzsche gets really interesting. He basically becomes a detective.
His big claim? It's a bombshell. He says values like good and evil weren't discovered like some law of physics. No way. They were invented, made up, by specific people at a specific time for specific reasons. They're, as he says, human, all too human.
And to prove his case, he creates this tool called the genealogical method. You can really think of it like forensics for philosophy. He's treating morality like a crime scene, dusting for fingerprints to trace it all back to its hidden origins. So, what did his investigation uncover?
Well, the investigation points to two main suspects, or maybe sources is a better word. Two totally different origins for our moral codes. He calls them master morality and slave morality.
And just look at the difference here. It is night and day. One morality starts from a place of power and self-affirmation, a big yes to oneself. The other one? It starts from a place of weakness and reaction, a big no to someone else. They come from completely different psychological worlds.
So, master morality. Think of like the heroes in Homer's epics, these powerful, noble warriors. For them, good is just, well, it's them. It's their strength, their health, their happiness. They look in the mirror and say, yeah, this is good. And bad? That's just an afterthought. It's what they call the weak, the pathetic, anyone who isn't like them.
Now, slave morality is a completely different beast. It's this incredible, clever flip of the script. It doesn't start by saying, we are good. It starts by looking at the masters, the powerful people, and saying, they are evil. And only after that, by contrast, do they say, well, if they're evil, then we, the poor, the humble, the suffering, we must be the ones who are good. It's a morality born out of resentment.
Okay, so we have these two competing moral systems, right? Master versus slave. Nietzsche says they've been battling it out for centuries, which of course leads to the big question.
So, which one is better? Which one's right? I mean, which side should we be on? And here's where Nietzsche pulls the rug out from under you. His answer? That's the wrong question to even ask. See the trap? The second you ask which one is better or more good, you're already using a word, good, that gets its meaning from one of those two systems. You can't judge the systems using the tools from inside the systems. It's a total catch-22.
So we need a standard that's totally outside of morality, a neutral benchmark. And for Nietzsche, there's only one thing that fits the bill, life itself. And he gives us a special name, the will to power.
Now, don't get tripped up by the name. The will to power isn't about dominating others in some crude way. It's this fundamental organic drive in everything, from a single cell to a whole society, to grow, to expand, to overcome obstacles. It's that tree root breaking through concrete. It actually thrives on resistance. So the real question isn't, is it good or evil? The question is this morality life-affirming? Does it help life grow and flourish? Or is it life-denying? does it lead to decay?
So, the old foundations have been completely blown up, and this is where Nietzsche's constructive side really kicks in. He leaves us with this massive challenge, one we're still grappling with today.
You've all heard the phrase, God is dead. It's probably his most famous line, and it's so often misunderstood. He wasn't just trying to be provocative. He was making a cultural diagnosis. He was saying that the belief in that other world, the one that gave all our traditional values their meaning, has died. The foundation has crumbled, and we killed it.
So if God is dead, if there's no cosmic guarantee for our values, what now? Well, we're faced with this task that is both terrifying and totally liberating. We have to create our own values. This is what he called the transvaluation of all values, creating new values that say yes to this world, to our bodies, to our messy, beautiful, real life.
But how do you know if you're really affirming life? How can you test yourself? Nietzsche gives us this absolutely mind-bending thought experiment to do just that. It's called the eternal recurrence. And listen, this isn't a physics theory about the universe. It's a psychological test. It's the ultimate test, really. Just imagine it. A demon comes to you in your loneliest loneliness and says this to you. Think about that for a second. Would you be horrified? Would you throw yourself on the ground and curse that demon? Or could you possibly look up and say, you are a god, and I have never heard anything more divine?
And that is the challenge Nietzsche leaves us with. It's not a puzzle with a single right answer. The question is, can you live in such a way? Can you create a life for yourself that is so meaningful, so full, that you would joyfully say yes to living it again, exactly as it is, with all the pain and all the beauty, an infinite number of times? That's the goal.